Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, good morning and welcome to the first edition of the 𝗂𝗍𝗔 International Summit. This is an annual event organized by the Employees Association of the IT and software industry in Romania. My name is 𝗂𝗍𝗶𝗁 𝗂𝗺𝗂𝗺. I'm journalist at Euronews Romania and your host for today. Let's begin with a promise that this event will be informative and extremely interesting. It will explore the transformative potential of cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, innovation, education, and IT progress in Romania. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living through a revolution. It's an IT revolution, an AI revolution, so Romania cannot be absent for the global changes. You will have the opportunity today to attend session debates delivered by over 30 specialists in the field, representatives of the authorities from Europe and Romania. First, I would like to invite Mrs. Corina Vasile, the Executive Director of 𝗂𝗍𝗔, to the official opening of the summit.
Working? Yeah. Okay, warm welcome on behalf of 𝗂𝗍𝗔. Thank you all for being here for a very long day, but a content-rich day. First of all, I thank the ministers, state secretaries, members of European and Romanian Parliament for being with us in a very busy time with all the elections coming up. Then thanks again for our speakers, for the local and international speakers that we managed to bring in to share with you their expert views. Thank you all for taking the time to be with us in this first edition of the summit. People looking up the agenda on the internet said that we should be doing a 2-day summit with these heavy topics that we have up front, but we promise that we do it next year at the second edition. Yeah. So you've seen the agenda. We will tackle one or two elephants in the room. We'll start with the artificial intelligence, of course. It will be a rich panel moderated by 𝗂𝗍𝗶𝗁, our president-elect. Then we'll go to the what may be the Europe's holy grail, that is innovation, with moderation from Radu Puchiu, the Director for Technology and Society at the Aspen Institute of Romania, among other things that he is doing. Then we'll break for lunch. Okay, we'll have some coffee in between, of course, but we'll break for lunch and we network. By the way, you can get in contact to each other via the application that you registered in. So if you have specific persons here that you want to meet, then search for them in the application. And then, guess what? We'll have some breaking news. Believe it or not, we'll have a breaking news session because it's a preview of the industry study that this year we've done with 𝗂𝗍𝗔, with the professor from 𝗂𝗍𝗔, and I welcome the professors from 𝗂𝗍𝗔 too, and we'll see a number of things. The impact of the IT sector on the economy, the value added, and yet another elephant in the room, how much we contribute actually to the state budget. Then we'll move forward to another hot topic, that is cybersecurity, and we'll have a panel moderated by our board member and CEO of 𝗂𝗺𝗁 𝗏𝗏. And then it goes again. Okay? And last but not least, we'll have a very interesting and nice panel moderated by Radu Burnete. We have a Radu situation, as you may see with the moderators today, except for Edward, who's not a Radu, but an Alexandru. So we'll have the education, skills and work panel with very interesting speakers too, moderated by Radu Burnete, the Executive Director of Concordia. And then we'll have a well-deserved dinner, and then if you stay with us, it's celebration time. We'll have the 10th edition of the ANIS Gala. We award every year the top projects and programs and products that the industry produced. And it will be a very interesting thing for you to see how wonderful and creative and very deep tech are our people in the industry. With this, I'll give the floor for an opening speech and a message from the Prime Minister to Mrs. Adeline Dan, Secretary of State at the Prime Minister Cabinet. Please.
Thank you very much for the invitation, and the message from the government will be in the national. Domnule ministru, stimați reprezentanții ai Parlamentului, doamnelor și domnilor, vă mulțumesc în numele primului ministru al României, Marcel Ciolacu, pentru invitația de a participa la acest eveniment și nu în ultimul rând pentru oportunitatea de a discuta despre un subiect de maximă importanță și relevanță în era în care trăim, și anume inteligența artificială și rolul său în transformarea societății și economiei noastre. În lumina acestor schimbări profunde, este esențial să ne asigurăm că acționăm în mod responsabil și că dezvoltarea tehnologiei este ghidată de principii și de respect pentru drepturile omului. Guvernul României, prin Ministerul Cercetării, Inovării și Digitalizării, susține industria IT din România și va implementa în curând și Strategia Națională pentru Inteligență Artificială. Strategia se bazează pe acțiunile concrete propuse la nivelul Uniunii Europene, dar este de asemenea ancorată în situația actuală și în contextul românesc, atât în ceea ce privește inteligența artificială, cât și domeniile conexe principale, cum ar fi cercetare, educație, dezvoltare, inovare și competitivitate, atât în educație cât și în digitalizarea administrației și a societății. Astfel, ne asigurăm că drepturile cetățenilor vor fi protejate și că România va avea un rol important în definirea viitorului economiei digitale la nivel global. Inteligența artificială este o tehnologie extraordinară, dar ca orice tehnologie, ea poate fi folosită atât ca un instrument, cât și ca o armă, ca în cazuri extreme poate cauza daune. Am văzut cu toții cum numărul de videoclipuri false postate în mediul online, pe rețele de socializare, a crescut în ultima vreme. De aceea, este esențial ca responsabilii în acest domeniu să acționeze prompt și eficient pentru a contracara deepfake-urile și pentru a proteja cetățenii de manipulare și dezinformare. Un proiect de lege dedicat reglementării și combaterii fenomenului deepfake este un pas necesar în această direcție. Putem construi un mediu online sigur prin acțiuni decisive și cooperare instituțională între mediul privat și public. În încheiere, considerăm că este necesar să ne concentrăm eforturile asupra dezvoltării competențelor digitale și a exploata la maximum potențialul acestei tehnologii pentru a ne îmbunătăți calitatea vieții tuturor. Vă mulțumesc și vă doresc în continuare să aveți dezbateri cât mai eficiente. Mulțumim încă o dată pentru oportunitatea de a fi astăzi în fața dumneavoastră și a vă transmite mesajul din partea Guvernului. Mulțumesc!
to invite Minister Bogdan Ivan, Minister for Research, Innovation and Digitalization.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, dear State Secretary, dear President, dear member of Romanian Parliament, of authorities, of the private sector, good morning. It's such an honor for me to be here and to discuss about that large topic, despite the fact that I'm not Radu. I try to be as clear as possible because our time is limited and I don't want to take the entire attention. First of all, in my opinion, when we speak about AI and new technologies, we speak about the future. In that moment, we are not only in a local or regional race, we are in a global race. And in my opinion, we should be focused on what we can do together, because in that moment, we are in 3Cs initiative. We as country, we are 12 countries over there. We are more than 120 million people. In the same time, we are part of European Union, and we should share good practices between us. We should share practices about technologies and definitely about cybersecurity and AI. In that moment, Romania, as Ms. Corina Vasile said before, we are about IT&C sector more over than 8% of GDP. It's one of the most added value industry from our country. And I checked 2 weeks ago, one study made it in the US, and that study bring Romania with largest amount of IT&C specialists and R&D specialists at 1,000 people in EU and number 6 worldwide. That means we have a lot of potential over here. The Romanian golden mine about IT&C sector are the people, are good specialists, and in that moment we have a huge growth, and that is the most important part of the private sector, because they made it. In the last 5 years, the growing was 2.5%. 2.5 times than 5 years ago. And in that moment, the entire industry brings almost to 9 billion euros every year. That is very important, and we have that open cooperation between public and private sector. Every one of you know that the big elephant in the room was last year, when some facilities, bring it 20 years ago, was bring it out after recovery and resilience plan regularity, and after that definitely wasn't a good message for the industry. But we bring something else on the table. We bring the Romanian recovery and resilience plan about more than 6 billion euros from Romanian digital transition of the public administration. In that moment, if we don't have a digital administration in Romania and that transition, most probably we don't have one European and futuristic public administration, because we still have the same architecture as 50 years ago. And for that, we have more than 6 billion euros. And in that topic, I would like to thank to Anis and to all the specialists for very good cooperation about the governmental cloud. And we'll have in that moment the public acquisition launch it, about the unique application of the state about everything, more than 30 services, public services until the end of 2024. And in that moment, we just sign the contract and we'll have it in 6 months, something like that. And we'll have a strong focus about customer experience. And with that, I would like to thank you all for that cooperation. And I will take that offer from Ani's side, which discussed before, to take a lot of time from your side to be sure that we don't make only a checklist of projects, but we make significant project with strong impact in society. Not only to check a project. This is not my goal. And I would like to bring back 6 billion euros for Romanian IT&C sector. That is most important. And we have one good news, made it 2 weeks ago with the Prime Minister's support, Mr. Marcel Ciolacu. We bring Romania in D4D Hub initiative, European initiative. That means we have more than 6 billion euros for projects in Africa, in Central and South America. And with that money, definitely I would like to have as many as possible Romanian companies part of that initiative, because it's very important for us to be part of the another markets, to bring services on the table, not only for Romanian market, which we have 20 million people over here, but for the global market. And in that initiative, I'd like to be partners and to select the most important Romanian and high added value companies to bring on the global market together with them. The first topic is about regulation. I'm pretty sure that every one of you knows about AI Act, Digital Service Act, Digital Governance Act. In that moment, after bringing them in at European Parliament, at European Commission, we set a memorandum through Romanian government, and we bring 7 different institutions from Cybersecurity Center, from the NSC, ANCOM, our ministry, National Audiovisual Authority, and another institution, to be sure that we have an integrated vision about how we could bring in Romania that regulation. But most important, in my view, because we have one very important year, we have in front of us 4 rounds of election, and what Ms. Adeline Dan said before about misinformation, we should make, and that is our specific goal, and I working on that, a strong and very important instrument to act in real time about misinformation in elections, because we have more than 2 billion people which will elect their leaders in 2024 worldwide. In Romania, we have election for local authorities, for the European Parliament, for the President and general election. And in this way, it's about our future and about our democracy. It's not only about one regulation. It's more important than one regulation. And we should stay on the same table, public servants, private sector, and to check how we could make that 2024 a stable year and to bring out misinformation. And about it, I say before, we already have that memorandum. We have the settings about what institutions are responsible for Romanian transition to that regulation from AI Act, DSA, and DGA. And I'm pretty sure that we'll have, as soon as possible, strong results about it. And we are working strong with the Parliament, because I see that the second topic is about innovation, and definitely when you speak about innovation is transversal topic, and we still have in the Parliament the Romanian strategy for innovation, and in the same time we bring 3 weeks ago into the government, and we pass it to the Parliament, and we'll have it in 1 week, I hope, because I see here the President of IT&C Committee, Mr. Sorin Moldovan. We'll have the entire framework for research statutes, and we bring the researchers on the same level with teachers from universities. And it's a strong commitment from Romanian government to bring value to research institution and to research added value and to research developing here in Romania. It's about R&D, and it's about the people and the specialists. The one regulation is impossible to bring new changes in the ecosystem, but focus on the people or focus on R&D specialists is the most important, and that we made with that new law. I keep another details for the topic. Thank you very much for that partnership. Thank you very much for that open partnership. I'm pretty sure that together we'll not make only a checkpoint of events, of discussion, but we'll make a significant change about Romania, about Europe, and about one of the most disruptive industries worldwide. And I'm pretty sure that our future will be not a brilliant one, but we'll be on the right table with Romanian companies, with Romanian ecosystem, and with our friends from Central and Eastern Europe ecosystem, because we are stronger together. Thank you very much. You could count on us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the welcoming speeches. Great start of the event. So, before starting the discussion related to the first panel, I want to remind you the occasion that's starting at 19, together with my colleagues from Euronews Romania. You will find out who will be the winners of the 10th edition of the ANIS Gala. My colleagues will tell you the names. It's about my colleagues from Euronews Romania, Andreea Gurban and Radu Hângănuț. And now we will start the first discussion dedicated to artificial intelligence. As we already know, the rise of generative artificial intelligence holds transformative potential, impacting our learning, work, and daily routines, while technological advancement often promise societal shifts. The recent adoption of the AI Act prompts critical discussions. In this panel, we delve into strategies and regulation aimed at harnessing AI benefits while mitigating associated risks, all while fostering innovation. So now I'll invite on the stage Mr. Edward Crețescu, ANIS President-elect, who will moderate this panel alongside our distinguished speakers, and everybody will take the seats after I will announce them. Mr. Bogdan Ivan, Minister of Research, Innovation and Digitalization, please, on the stage. Michal Kanovnik, Presidency Digital Coalition. Lasse Heidemann, Senior Director for Outreach Digital Europe. Manuela Catrina, Deputy Director DNSC. Sorin Dan Moldovan, President IT&C Committee in the Romanian Chambers of Deputies. Bogdan Putinică, Country General Manager Romania and Moldova, Microsoft. Victor Negrescu, Questor of the European Parliament and Honorary Advisor to the Prime Minister, and Chris Radu, Vice President of Engineering and Site Leader, Adobe Romania. The stage is yours.
Everyone seated? Everyone seated. Great, great. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the first edition of the ANIS International Summit. My name is Edward Crețescu, and I am the President-elect of ANIS. Very, very glad to be with you all this morning. Mr. Minister, thank you so much for the speech earlier. Distinguished members of government as well, thank you so much for joining us, and obviously all of our members of our industry, thank you once more for being with us today. We're going to start the ball, literally, this morning with a discussion about artificial intelligence and what it's going to mean exactly for our industry, what it's going to mean for our governmental services, how is it going to impact our lives, and essentially, what are we looking at for the future? Now, let's do a little recap before we start. Very quick. The AI Act, or as it's also called, Proposal from the Commission 206 from 2021, is essentially the European Union framework designed to regulate artificial intelligence. This was done specifically at the request of the Commission because of the understanding that of the risks and obviously of the benefits that artificial intelligence brings to you in all aspects of life. And the discussion that we're going to be having today is about the AI Act in general, what it's going to bring to us from a society and obviously legal framework perspective, and also with not forgetting the fact that it passed the European Parliament in March 2024. Side note over here, a bit of national pride for us. Mr. Dragoș Tudorache, who is a member of the European Parliament, was a rapporteur for the AI Act, and that has been a major success for us as a nation, because we were leading, and we are leading, the discussions on artificial intelligence. And with that little framework in mind, let us see exactly our panelists and our discussions for today. And I will start with the European perspective Mr. Heidemann, Mr. Kanovink, welcome. Our colleagues from Digital Europe and the Digital Coalition. And gentlemen, because we had the national perspective from our minister, I'm going to start with you to discuss the European perspective. So let's talk about the AI Act. How are we going to be implementing it at a European level? And what it's going to mean after it passes both the reading in the EU Council and how it's going to be literally implemented at a national level in every single union member?
Yes. Can you hear me? Yep.
Yes.
There it is. Very good. So, firstly, just to say, we've been looking into the figures, and it looks as if this new technology will create 15.7 trillion, that's not billion, but trillion, by 2030. So it's a massive, massive change to our society. This is from a PricewaterhouseCoopers report. 70% of this boost will be outside Europe. So it is extremely important that now that we have these reasonably good rules in place, we have the risk-based system, it makes sense. Now we have to implement it, and we have to implement it in a way that it doesn't become fragmented across the EU. Because what we need is one market, one single market that we can actually work in. So the consequences for the small businesses especially, but also for larger businesses, it is important that we are proportional and that we make absolutely sure that implementation is even across the EU. So our quick suggestions is to leverage the existing global standards. There's actually quite a few global standards already that can be used. We can plug the holes in those and already have a system in place. Make compliance easy for the businesses so that it's easy to comply with and they don't fall in a hole of having to spend lots of money on lawyers that they then don't use to develop their business or to sell their services. Then there's a detanglement of what we call the regulatory spaghetti ball, so all sorts of different rules that are overlapping and are not in compliance with each other, also complicates things. Then align with like-minded partners, there's stuff going on in the G7, the Hiroshima process, there's a UN advisory board and so on. Let's make sure that we don't create more fragmentation than absolutely necessary, as little as possible. And the last thing is to boost the investments for artificial intelligence. The industrial policy is going to be the big thing in the next mandate. We're going to spend a lot of time finding out how we want to boost our competitiveness and make sure that our industrial base is in place. This is one of the areas where obviously it would be super interesting for the EU to boost their things. So in short, compliance, implementation, let's make sure that it's clear and usable for everyone, and then let's follow up with concrete investments. So let's protect ourselves against the unwanted outcomes, which is what the artificial intelligence rules are doing, but let's also make sure that we benefit from the growth and the enormous potential that AI promises.
I would like to add a few general remarks because Lasse, of course, mentioned about costs. It's, from business side, it's absolutely crucial to understand what's going on next months and years. And even the European Commission said that total cost for business to implement all regulations from AI Act, it could be reached over 3 billion euro. Yeah, so really, it's absolutely huge amount of money which all companies in Europe will have to spend for implementation of AI Act. Second thing, we have to remember that it's a huge challenge for all governments across the Europe to implement this AI Act because even in business, there is lack of competences in this area. In administration, for sure, we have much more lack of competences in this area. And for sure, the huge challenge for governments to increase level of competences in administration to prepare some institution to take care about AI regulations in single countries in Europe. So, frankly speaking, Mr. Minister, I really think that it will be huge challenge and for Romania, from Poland, for every country in the Europe. And the last remark, because probably in the last chance part of our discussion, we will discuss much more deeper about business chances for from AI Act. But Mr. Ivan said in his speech that we need cooperation in our region, in Europe, And this is, I think, crucial if we are talking about AI Act. Because AI Act, it's only some framework for business, for governments. And right now, the most important to build some platform for coordination across the Europe in creating strategies, national strategies. For example, in 3 CEE countries or CE region, I think that we should coordinate national strategies for AI to create more or less but common understanding the chance, needs of our business, our administrations in this area, and prepare as a region a very, very good institutions from administration side and competences and finance for business.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for the European perspective. We're going to be moving slowly now over to our local perspective, and I will start with Mrs. Katrina over here. Specifically, we're talking here about AI. Mr. Ivan mentioned also in his opening speech about deepfakes and the problems in general with cybersecurity. What is the view about implementing AI and cybersecurity in general for the future, given the fact that we now have the legal framework for it?
Thank you. I would start saying that I think there are synergies between AI Act and NIS2 directive, and that shows that Europe not only has good ideas, but knows how to apply that and to do it in a decisive way. So I think both can help us to find the common ground. I'm looking in the rooms, there are so many experts in cybersecurity here and IT, so I'm not starting with saying the threats that AI can bring and the benefits that can also bring and how we play with threat detection and how we cannot do it without AI. On the other part, how the attackers only use AI to attack us, and all the stories about fake news that Mr. Ivan was already touching here in the beginning, and I'm sure other colleagues will do. I also can say that we together, this both directive can help us increase reporting, and they can support each other. They enhance the risk management framework, and it's also supporting each other. By the way, we speak about regulation. Most of the time, when I speak with industry says regulation is not something that we like because it costs money. But I must say, IT in Romania is on the good side of the history. You are in the part that can use this money and do more business, because this regulation brings with them a whole new line of business, be it risk management, risk assessment, pen testing, compliance, all the other things that your companies can do, and we want and rely on you to do it on the other industries that are affected. By the way, this type of the both regulation help us create this cross-border impact, especially for sectors that are critical, like energy, transportation, and even health and so on. And I would also tackle another elephant in the room, because I know Corina likes the elephants. It's education, and the thing that what we can do. The question is what we teach to the kids in order to be on top on the AI revolution, because it's a revolution. And we have such a great industry in Romania because 30, 40 years ago, some smart Romanians, academicians, sit on the table and decided that Romanians should teach mathematics and physics in school because it's important. Maybe another discussion on this side, this time together with the industry, would be important to select what we teach our kids, not only to have the workforce for tomorrow, but also to be on the top of this on this decision. My bet would be not only on mathematics, science, and philosophy, but and physics, but also on the soft part of the creative part. The part that only we humans can do. I close saying that I think we have also something that we have to teach, and we have to keep with us, and this is values, because with AI Act and also NIS2, but mainly with AI Act, we managed to find the good balance between the two oceans. It's not only about profit, and it's not only about control. It should be also about building a new economy. And we heard the numbers here, how much it will contribute, but also infuse this AI with the values that we, as the Europeans, are committed to. It's freedom, it's democracy, it's solidarity, it's justice, it's you name it, the values that we, I wouldn't say that it's left or right, it's just the European values that define us, because if we don't do it, nobody will. And I think it's odd to talk about values at the IT conference, but we have to sometimes, I think. So I'm stopping here because I think many others have more important things to do.
Thank you very much for all of these kind words. Speaking of regulations, because you did mention it a couple of times, I would like to ask Mr. Negrescu, the Romanian MEP, specifically about AI strategy and how, it's actually a very good point that Mrs. Katrina made earlier about European values. How do we fit those European values within the general AI strategy that we have? And obviously the impact that it's going to have not just on governments and private companies, of course, and from a business perspective, but also how is it going to impact citizens in their everyday lives?
So thank you first of all for the invitation, and of course my perspective will be a little bit different from the previous speakers, because I believe that we are actually not prepared for what artificial intelligence means. We speak about AI as being a technology of the future, but actually AI is today's technology. This is already happening. So we are trying to deal with things, let's say, on a long-term perspective, whereas AI needs to be dealt with right now. And therefore, if we refer to European regulation, I think we already committed a couple of mistakes. So the first mistake is that we over-regulated AI in Europe, whereas in the US or China or elsewhere where we have this type of technologies, they didn't do so. So we have to be sure that the regulation that we've put forward will enable Europe to become a leader in the field and not us staying behind again. Of course, we speak in the AI Act and several documents that have been approved at European level about values, and this is important. We speak about ethics, and this is important. And we have to be very much committed in promoting them. But we also have to be sure that what we are trying to promote is also being dealt with and taken on board at global level. So it's not enough to have a EU regulation. We need a global approach when it comes to artificial intelligence, because AI doesn't have any boundaries. So therefore, we have to make sure that this is being applied everywhere. So of course, we are obliging European SMEs to register, to develop AI technology. But again, if you move a couple of 100 kilometers away from Europe, you can do the same and sell to European customers the AI technology, or to European companies the AI technologies, without being obliged to register, which is not fair, again. So I think we have to be very careful. And there are a couple of elements that, again, I think there have been mistakes also in the AI Act. We speak about regulatory sandboxes, this is why I have my phone here, and specialized large-scale reference sites. And I was looking at the specialized large-scale reference sites because they are already in place. We have 4 large-scale sites, and part of those projects, one is on agri-food, one is on health, one is on general AI matters, and one is more specific on cybersecurity. And I was looking at the countries that are involved, and what I noticed is that Romania is not involved in any of those 4 existing large-scale reference sites, where we are supposed to test AI technologies and develop AI technologies in Europe. I also noticed that the large majority of Central and Eastern European countries are not in those pre-existing reference sites that got approved in the AI Act. So we introduced in AI Act something that was already in place, where not all EU countries are part of. So now we are supposed to develop our own reference sites, which is costly, hard to create from scratch, and hard to do knowing that we have new regulations in place. And I'm underlining these elements to not one to mention the fact that we are only staying behind, but also to mention that we have a lot of things to do. And I'm using my comments to call upon you to actually accelerate and speed up what we are doing when it comes to AI development. We also have to make sure that we are capable at European level, including Romania, of course, to develop AI platforms that will become referential for the development of AI. For the time being, the AI platforms do not come from Europe. So we develop AI applications by using AI platforms that have been developed outside Europe, which is not a bad thing, but I'm just mentioning that we are not, again, competitive with regards to this type of technology development. And there is potential. I think we have in Romania potential when it comes to AI education. I think we have potential when it comes to the application of AI in the industry. I think we have potential for the use of AI in agriculture. I think we have potential when it comes to the use of AI when it comes to coding. So I think we have to use this potential in an efficient manner. We have to understand the regulations, apply it, and control the regulation. The regulation should not be put into place to control all of you, but actually the AI should be hopefully used as a mechanism that can accelerate innovation and enable us to do more in this respective field.
Thank you so much. A very sobering assessment, particularly about the shortfalls that unfortunately we in Romania have at this moment in regards to the regulation. And with that in mind, I would like to ask Mr. Ivan, the Minister of Digitalization, specifically, do we have any plans right now to regulate artificial intelligence in Romania? And this is also an open-ended question to Mr. Moldovan as well. Apart from the AI Act, obviously, from the European Union, but do we have any specific AI strategy in Romania? Do we have any plans with regards to that?
Yes, thanks for that wonderful topic. And first of all, I'm pretty sure after 20 September last year, a large debate about Romanian AI strategy. And we set 30 days for that debate, and we end it in February that year because we have a lot of inputs from different parts of society, from industry, from Romania, outside Romania, and other countries. But in that moment, I'm pretty sure that we pass it to the government, and I'm pretty sure that we have a strong AI strategy based on two most important pillars. First of all, is to create a context for research, for innovation when you speak about AI, because as Mr. Negrescu said before, it's not only about regulate, because it's something which is already happening, and we try to figure out how to bring that into our advantage, how to bring that into our industry advantage, how to bring that into our government advantage, how to bring that into our regional advantage and regional interest. And that is one very important pillar about R&D and about how we could use AI to grow and to put it into research in med-side, in agriculture, in public administration, because in that moment we should use AI to process a lot of public services. We will use AI in governmental cloud. We will use AI in one app of Romanian government, which will be wonderful in that end of 2024. And definitely we have that huge potential, and we must work with that. And I'm not one huge fan of regulating by default, because yes, we need to regulate different stuffs, but not only to close the entire creativity of the industry and of the researchers. And the second pillar, and very important, and where we was a kind of visionaries together with Romanian industry about regulating, but about regulating in stuffs which is very important for personal interest and rights, the people rights. For example, real-time processing, biometric details about the face. Definitely that could be used only when you speak about one terrorist attack or when we have a person missing. Not to use it to check what a person are making at work, on the street, or on the free time. That is unacceptable, and that is very important. The second pillar, when you speak about election and deepfakes, we have more technical filters today than 2 months ago. Because if we make a check, every one of us, how many deepfakes we have it 2 months ago, today we have at least 1 of 10. And we work on that together with large platforms, but we must to have concrete instruments. It's not only about to having a regulation, because when you speak about AI Act, and I'm coming to large framework, in that moment we have active AI Act, but we have 24 months to make it and to implement it. We don't have 24 months for that. We must check what is very important for us, what we should to make first thing first, what is most important, and after that we couldn't make everything just smashing our fingers. And in my perspective, that is very important, to bring creativity on the table and let it to bring outside the box the creativity, and that is Romania AI strategy main focus, and definitely to protect the people, human rights, and all about constitution and about rights guaranteed by our constitution. That is most important. And yes, we have 4 rounds of election. It's very important for us to be sure that we have transparent election, misinformation as low as possible, and we protect our democracy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. A very interesting challenge posed to Mr. Moldovan, who is the president of the IT committee in the Romanian Chamber of Deputies. Essentially, Mr. Moldovan, under your leadership, the AI Act will essentially come to your desk, and you will be the one regulating and formulating any national legislation on artificial intelligence. Exactly what Mr. Minister Ivan was saying earlier. So, from our perspective, what is your approach, and how is Romania going to approach the actual national legislation with regards to AI?
First of all, I would like to say thank you for the invitation, and I'm really glad that we have this opportunity to discuss about these important topics with public and private sector as well, because I believe in a concrete dialogue. So Romania endorses the new European regulation proposed by the European Commission, assuring that AI systems remain secure, impartial, ethical, under human control, and uphold the fundamental rights and security of our citizens. Aspects such as security, transparency, accountability, and adherence to human rights obligations, along with ethical development and utilization of the AI, are indispensable facets of our overarching vision. All these considerations must undergo meticulously human scrutiny, respecting the fundamental rights and security of our citizens. I'm serving also as Vice Chairman of the Defense, Public Order and National Security Committee, and I'm also a member at the NATO Parliamentary Assembly. And I'm saying this because we are having these debates and discussions, and also in NATO and also in the military field. AI is used in the military field as we speak. I do believe what my colleague MEP Negrescu said about over-regulating, and Europe is over-regulating the AI, and I believe we don't have to do this. And I want to make a parallel. When the internet appeared, a lot of people, were skeptical about the internet, but look at the internet nowadays. It created jobs, for example, because a lot of people are afraid that AI will steal the jobs that some people are doing. It's like the email, the post is still here. Well, not necessarily the Romanian post office, but like the normal post did not disappear, although we have the email. I do believe that AI will generate jobs and will generate a lot of advantages for our economies as well. I don't believe AI is a bad thing, because I saw in our societies a lot of discussions about this, that AI, a lot of people are afraid of AI, of what AI can do. And I would like to make a parallel to the military side. For example, guns don't kill people. People kill people with the help of guns. So it's the same thing in the AI, I believe. That's why I don't believe we have to be afraid of it. Of course, we have to regulate. That's our job as politicians, me and my colleagues in the parliament. Mr. Ivan as a minister in the executive branch and his colleagues in the government. But we have to work together. We have to work with the private sector as well. And we have to find solutions to the problems or to the things that are coming with AI as well. Deepfake, for example, because you mentioned deepfake before you asked me. We had a meeting, for example, in the parliament with all the institutions 2 weeks ago. We are trying to find the best solutions to regulate the deepfake, because Mr. Ivan mentioned the elections. Of course, elections are very important in a democracy, so we need to assure that our elections, whether they're European, local, or national elections, are held correctly and they are not AI or deepfake or other technologies are not interfere with these elections, and the people can elect their leaders correctly.
Mr. Moldovan, thank you so much for your thoughts. You did mention a very, very good point, specifically about jobs and economic progress. And with that being in mind, I will turn to the private sector right now and ask specifically about the AI and how it's going to impact us. I will start to my left with Mr. Radu, Vice President of Engineering at Adobe. And my question to you would be, how are we going to be implementing the AI, specifically from a private sector perspective, and essentially, what are companies going to be offering to their clients globally, worldwide, nationally, even in Romania as well, in terms of artificial intelligence?
Okay, thank you. I think generally the private sector sees regulation almost as a cost, as it was put before, but in this case, it's very, very different than any other technology. So due to the advance in the modern technology and almost the magic of how modern AI is built, there is very little control over what the technology generates. You have more control on how you build it. So a lot of the regulation and the self-regulation, it's actually how we build those models that will create whatever, an image, a text, a video, an audio, and so on. I like to recognize that European Union is far ahead, as usual, with regulation. So Adobe is mainly a US company. It's a global company, but mainly in US. In US, there is not even such talk about regulation. And that might not be a good thing, because I think we had maybe the same issue with social media and digital presence, where tackling the challenges with privacy were very, very late in doing that. Like, the technology was there for years. Sometimes it was used abusively, and then we had a reaction. Still, European Union came with the GDPR regulation, which has some kind of application in other geographies, but not at the same level of structure and enforcement as it is in European Union, and it's, again, a good thing. I like to see that here, we acted almost in time. It's very hard to act in time as a regulator to any technology that takes the world by storm, as GenAI is doing right now, but is the first act, and the fact that we have a timeline of implementing that act in the national legislation in the next 2 years, that will bring Europe again leading in terms of regulation, and again, regulation, it's critical for the technology as it stands right now. On the other hand, I think because the technology is evolving very much and is not about the future, it's as much about the present as it is right now, self-regulation is almost as important. So I would say even if Adobe, it's mostly a US company, we are forward complying with everything that is in the EU directive, and we have internal processes that are already aligned with that in terms of transparency about how the models are built, tackling biases in generating those models and so on. So a lot of that comes as self-regulation, even if the legislation is not yet there. The ethical way to build AI requires us to self-regulate that. So one of the key initiatives that Adobe is sponsoring, co-sponsoring actually with Microsoft, is the Content Authenticity Initiative. So things like deepfakes or intellectual property challenges to some assets that the creators are creating, Adobe is proposing a standard for that, and it's implementing already the standard in all its tools, so you could see which digital asset is an original and which is tackled by AI and which is a deepfake. And that's an industry-generated standard. It's more practical. It works right now. And we hope that that will merge with the AI regulation as it gets to the implementation specifics for each industry and use case.
Thank you so much for the detailed answer. I will turn to my right now to Mr. 𝗜𝗏, Country Manager for Microsoft, Romania and Moldova. And actually, I wanted to ask whether Microsoft is doing the same self-regulation, as Mr. Radu mentioned, but my question was already answered since you're working together on that. From our perspective, how do you see the impact on the industry as a whole in terms of the economic benefits, both at a global and obviously national level in Romania? And what are the general plans for Microsoft when it comes to artificial intelligence? Obviously, Microsoft Copilot, but beyond that as well.
Okay. Good morning, first of all. Thank you for having us here and for organizing this great event. The panel and the conversation, I think, shows the interest that we currently live in the industry, in the economy, in the society when it comes about artificial intelligence. And most have been referenced by my previous speakers, and I would like just to quickly touch upon a couple of points. I like the perception that regulation is here to help rather than to control. I think we talk a lot about that, and there is a fine line between regulating and controlling. I like what the President von der Leyen said in launching her agenda for Europe, that data and AI are the ingredients of innovation. And I want to particularly salute the Minister Ivan's statement earlier that we need to work at putting AI at work for the society, for the people, for the education, for the government, for the country. And that is, I think, the mandate that we should take forward when we would be talking, executing, launching AI initiatives into the market. How do we use AI for the greater good, for the economical benefits, for the advancement of the country, for the region of Europe, and obviously for the whole globe? Now, AI, what we see at Microsoft with AI is enormous benefits, and I think this is obvious for everyone. We talk about this already. I just want to land a couple of things that will maybe anchor the conversation moving forward. We see great return of investment when it comes to AI. It is one of the vectors of acceleration for economical development, both for companies and for countries. We see, for example, close to 4 return of investment for $1 invested in AI. So, we put $1 in, you get 4 out. That's one of the rarest such accelerators available in the modern society today. And this is happening. This is not something that, we are talking about designing for the future, Europe 2050 or something like that. We live it already. And the adoption rates are enormous. You probably know the statistics that, I don't want to nominate anyone, but the blue social logo of social network, the adoption rate to 1 million was, I think, maybe 4 years. The picture-based social network was, 1 year. Bear with me with the numbers. ChatGPT adoption to the same level was 2 months. So the way the society, the people adopted AI and they realized that they can use it for their own benefit, for accelerating impact and development was just enormous. And now with this framework in mind, the things that we are seeing when we talk about AI are, you know, a multitude of topics of huge interest. Ethics, you know, how do you work with AI in an ethical manner? And I'm happy to, you know, state that Microsoft has started from the design part, from the very early moment of working with AI to implement ethical AI principles into the way we work, you know, like transparency, security, privacy of data, and so on. We went out into the market and we provided a commercial framework to our customers that guarantees privacy of the data. The way they work with their data is their own. We don't circulate data, we don't train our model with private enterprise data. They keep control of their data and obviously of the results of using AI there. We're seeing, for example, adoption rates of Copilot. People using Copilot, they don't want to go back, you know. That's just straightforward. We shared a couple of weeks ago some data in our own AI summit in Bucharest that we organized. More than 70% of the people using AI, they want to keep using it. They don't want to give it back. And the reason is very simple. It just makes life easier, okay? And I'm oversimplifying right now. I also want to quote a very famous programmer, the lead software developer of Tesla, the company that does the autonomous cars and so on, very heavy AI use. The guy developed the algorithm around the autonomous car. You know, he was one of the core engineers there, and his productivity, he quoted, was 80% higher when Copilot started to be used. So the effect is absolutely obvious. Now, I liked also some of the things that have been said previously in the panel about the challenges that we have in Romania, because it's great to talk about AI. It's great to, well, not great actually, it's painful to realize that, you know, the 4 key areas that have been already established in Europe do not include Romania. So that's a statement in itself, okay? And it's a statement, I think, to the road ahead and to the country potential that we see ahead of us, unfortunately, because some countries are well developed in this space. The use of technology that allows deployment of AI is much more advanced, and unfortunately not in Romania. But when we talk about cloud, when we talk about, for example, transformational projects like the governmental cloud, which Minister Ivan noted earlier, those are the true drivers of progress for a society and for a country. Taking over those kind of initiatives, I think it's the the responsibility of the executive branch of the government and of the politicians to take the country forward. And that is the obvious mandate that we as citizens give to the politicians, you know, help us grow the country. That's your job, you know, that's why you're paid, and that's why we pay taxes, among other things. But adoption of AI requires adoption of modern technology, of modern framework of technology. You know, the least of them being cloud, which, you know, Romania, unfortunately, is not very good at, but it will get good at. And we have some initiatives, I think, that show real strategy and also, gladly, real capability of execution from the government. So looking forward to those kind of initiatives, because this is how you take AI from a very nice panel discussion into economical impact into the country. And there are gazillions of statistics, gazillions of data points and references. Last but not least, I will quote one of our own, a true direct relevance and correlation between digital skill and economical benefits. Economical benefits, in this case, let's say, being the earned power of a citizen employed in a company with a government and so on. So, you know, higher salaries. Everybody loves higher salaries, you know. But in order to get there, you know, if you look at the market data, if you look what others are doing, they correlate that with skilling, with digital skilling, with digital technology. A country that is more advanced, and now I will give an example that is obvious, Finland or Denmark, you know, which is at the top of the European technical food chain, the correlation is direct between that and the earning power of the citizens. And with that, I will close my remarks. I think the benefits of AI are just huge, enormous. We're just getting started. In Microsoft, we call ourselves in 2024 an AI company. And I've seen my partners from Adobe joining, industry-led initiatives to bring higher frameworks of regulation, of organizing the use of AI. And I think we will see more from that. We are living a true industrial revolution, maybe the fourth or the fifth one, depending how you count. And this is here to stay and to continue to grow.
Thank you so much, Mr. 𝗜𝗏, for your remarks. And before we close, one final question for all of our panel members. Now, with everything that we've just discussed this morning, let's do a little prediction challenge, a little exercise in future thought. What is going to be the impact in the short to medium term? So let's look at 5 to 10 years of artificial intelligence, of course, but we take into account legal frameworks, with good and with bad. I've seen a lot of very interesting opinions and debates specifically in this panel. And essentially, how do you think is it going to impact both industry, government, daily life, citizenship? And I will start with Mr. Radu.
I think that, as usual, technology can be overhyped. So I think probably we are now close to the top of the hype. Generally, even e-commerce, mobile, any other transformation, people expected a lot in the first 2 years, and then it was more and more and more in the expectation, and then it was also a valley of that. So we are definitely seeing a lot of investment in infrastructure to build AI. We are seeing moderate success and a lot of legal challenges in the application of AI. So I think it will be more influenced by regulation than any other technology revolution so far. And I also think it will probably start to show true results in terms of impact in society, in terms of major productivity or creativity boosts, probably from 3 to 5 years from now, and not quite immediate. It's here, but it would not show the expected tremendous impact until a few years ago. It will still be probably quicker than any other transformation we've seen so far.
Thank you very much. Mr. Heidemann?
Yes, so I agree with that. Basically, there's no need to restate those particular points. One thing maybe to say is that what it will also lead to is growth and better jobs. I mean, people will get better jobs. They might have to do something else than what they were doing before, but if we manage to reskill and upskill them, they will get better, more meaningful, more well-paying, more interesting jobs. That's also worth taking in. And then just one last point. We talk a lot about the burdens because we represent businesses, so we worry about these things, right? But one thing that's a bit, I think, underestimated is the fragmentation inside the internal market. For us to grow and for everyone not to move to the US as soon as they have a good idea, we need the internal market integration. Otherwise, this will not happen. We will not create it here. We will move out of Europe. So, well and good with the burdens, we agree, but we need the integration as well. We need to talk to each other, because otherwise it will not function in practice.
Thank you so much. Mr. Ivan?
Yes, I'd like to bring on the table 2 news. Yesterday was tested one autonomous fight plane in the US, and the results was on AI pilot, to say in that way, was better than a pilot with moreover than 2,000 hours in fly. And the second one, Victoria, the first spokesman for foreign affairs of one ministry worldwide, is from Ukraine, is the spokesman of 𝗔𝗡𝗜𝗏 𝗔𝗡𝗏 and we have the first spokesman, an AI avatar from one government. It's obviously that will be a huge change of perspective, but in the same time is very important to check what is significant and what isn't significant, because it's funny to make a lot of scenarios about what we can do, but it's most important to check what is really important to make and to use that kind of work. Definitely the repetitive skills will be replace it by AI. In public administration, I don't need one physical person to check my ID and to make me a photo and to bring me another ID, because I could make it through one app. I don't need one physical person to check my portfolio when I would like to apply to go to high school. We could use a software for that. We don't need person to use it. That in public service. And definitely, I'm pretty sure that could be a huge challenge. We could make a revolution with that new instruments. But first of all, we should understand as society, as government, as entire community, what we want. And after that, we could put it on work and to bring our targets. But first of all, we need to check, and that is not about tech, it's about decision maker, is about thinking and strategic thinking. AI could be a very useful instrument in the right hands. And we should figure out how to be sure that we have the right ideas and the right hands. And I have trust in that new instrument.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kovink.
Thank you very much. Of course, we can discuss hours about different risks from AI, about disinformation, fake news. Of course, we can. But I deeply believe that AI is a huge challenge for business, for society, for Europe to become maybe not a leader in the global market, but a real partner for global players in the world. But it won't do it itself. So we have to support this process. And of course, people are afraid of AI. We can read a lot of articles that people are afraid that AI will take the jobs, etc., etc. But the only way to avoid these threats in society is to explain, to support people to understand this technology and show examples how to use the technology for creating a better life for whole society. And of course, we can say that AI will support to increase efficiency in the industry, to speed up different kind of research among our industry. Of course we can, but let's focus on two examples how to use this technology for everybody. First, Mr. Ivan said about services, public administration services. Of course, we have to use AI for public administration, for services, for citizens, for companies. It's the best way to understand that this is a technology for us. I hope that it won't be only one service, but in general, in every service, public services in Romania, AI will be crucial technology for people. Second example is defense. Yesterday in Katowice, Ursula von der Leyen said that EU will create a special, huge fund, 100 billion euro for defense in the next few years. Great. Of course, we have experiences in Ukraine, of course, and we have to invest in this sector. But for sure, some part of this fund must be spent of AI technology, because it will be much easier to prepare European Union to different risks for the future using AI, but not only real men in different fields. And last two things. We have to, of course, invest in cooperation in AI across region, the one hand, and second hand, across our industry, building a partnership between business and science. Science will create some new technologies, business should implement this technology in real life, real business, and of course government should support this partnership in every country. We have to avoid any difference between different countries in EU. Of course, AI Act will create probably 27 national authorities for AI in every country in Europe. It won't be easy for business to understand which authority in which country is for me. it will be a problem, but of course it's normal that EU will create rather problems for business, not support in regulations, because over regulations is clear for everybody. And we have to make 3 points to reach the success in AI. First, to create regulations, but smart, flexible regulations in national level, and try to create a common strategies across the Europe. Second thing, to educate, build competences across society, in administration, in business, in whole society. What is the AI? How to use this AI? That it won't kill us in next few years, but we have to understand what's going on and how to use this technology. And last thing, but not least, invest money. Of course, it's crucial. With money, it would be impossible to develop this technology. So we have to create a special funds for our European SMEs, especially, to support them in using technology to create new products, new services based on this AI technology. And I deeply believe that based on these 3 points, we'll be able, as a Europe, create a very strong digital industry based on AI technology for our better future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kozłowski. Mrs. Katrina.
I'm somebody that loves science fiction. So for this question, it's kind of, we need science and fiction both. Imagining how it looks in 10 years, yes, we could only hope with the support of the European Union that we don't lose this battle, and we managed to catch up for the others that are already ahead. And also looking on, and also you don't have in 10 years, as Anis, a debate here with the avatars of Copilot, Adobe, and the spokesperson from the Ministry of Digitalization, and the spokesperson from the artificial avatar from somebody else. And I don't think this is going to happen, but we should look that AI shouldn't deepen the inequalities, especially in countries like Romania, because everybody should have the opportunity at least to use this, so competence and digital competence is relevant here and what we do in education. For Romania especially, I think it's also important to see it in the collaboration with digital transformation, because we need data in order to create an AI that gives answers specifically to our population. And now it sounds exotic, but it's not. If we speak about medical data, we have a lot, we have a ton. They're relevant, but they're not all digitalized. If we speak about agriculture data, maybe it's relevant to have an AI to predict when to plant the grain and not let a peasant sit on the land and see if it's cold, and now you can put your seeds in the ground. And so, but I think, close future, we do a conference together in October. So thanks you, Anis. It's Bucharest Cybersecurity Conference that second edition. This year, we put a challenge on you. Last year, it was the medical sector that we want to be on top of it. This year, we looked on a sector that be exotic for the IT people, but we strongly believe that Romania has 2 motors right now to develop. One is IT, and the other one is agriculture. So the conference would be over in Dagra, 31 in October in Romexpo. So we discuss AI there and other things. So maybe we have more answers after the day-to-day. So strongly believe in collaboration and all the things we do together and preparing to the next challenges. So let's see what's going to happen.
Because you asked about the impact, I do believe that there is an impact already, and it will be a significant one, especially in key areas such as health, agriculture, financial, military, why not? But I want to come back to what I said in my previous intervention, and I want to underline that the AI should be implemented with great care, respecting at least the 2 principles, ethical and security, because it's very important to have these two principles. So our interests as regulators, as members of the parliament that we regulate, is to have these benefits of this technology to be maximized and to have the risk as low as possible.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moldovan. Mr. Negrescu?
Yeah, I was listening to the questions and I asked ChatGPT to answer. And yeah, basically, as you know, in all fields, AI will have an impact, and this is important to underline. I also asked ChatGPT if we should regulate, and it says we should regulate, but we should do that effectively, while taking into consideration that the pace of innovation is fast. So what I'm going to mention is, first of all, is that probably we'll need to regulate. And probably the regulation when it comes to AI, it will be regulation by design. So this is very important. You cannot ask AI to do something afterwards. So it has to be in the development of AI platforms and AI application that you have to introduce a regulation. Secondly, it's not enough to regulate at continental level. You need a global approach, and you have to be certain that this will be applied. Thirdly, AI will have an impact on our jobs. So all jobs are going to be influenced. Your jobs are going to be influenced, our jobs as well. So therefore, we have to make sure that we are prepared for the future, not just wait for the outcomes, but really predict, anticipate, and prepare for all of that. We also have to be certain that we are trained and skilled, and this is not, again, easy. It will not happen because it will happen. You have to be prepared for that as well as best as possible. So these are also something important. Last and not least, I think AI will have a huge impact on decision-making. Decision-making at governmental level, in the private sector, everywhere. And this will be a choice. Whether we will do as I did right now, ask AI tools to answer for us the most difficult questions, or whether we will still continue to ask ourselves the answers that we can give to the most difficult questions. And this will be a choice. And this is a democratic choice to be made. But if we are going to make the choice to allow AI to decide for us, I think, and this is what analysts say, we cannot go back. So once we make the choice to leave AI to decide for us, it will be very difficult to go back. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Negrescu. Mr. Puținică?
I will just close talking a little bit about the future because, you know, we've been hearing science fiction, 5 years, 10 years projections. Some of those futuristic things are happening now, and I just want to share with you two things. One is education impact of AI. We have countries in the world that understood that the future is anchored in education. In order to have the ability to be competitive and efficient in the future, you need strong education. And they have deployed AI to help tutor students, pupils, schools, high schools, universities. And what they realized, and this is just super fresh, okay, it's happening for probably less than a year. The impact of using customized education for each individual citizen that is going into the education programs right now, the impact is higher than 10%. As we speak, less than a year in the process. So the way we learn, the way we educate our kids, our students, the citizens, it's already showing progress and impact. And the second is agriculture, which, you know, we all love in Romania, but agriculture and agri-tech is something very fancy, okay? We like it, we love it. What do we do it? Well, the good news is that we already have innovation in Romania. Romanian companies deploying AI and machine learning in agriculture, and they are seeing tremendous progress on the efficiency of cultures. The technicalities of the agriculture, when do you water, what chemicals you put, hopefully not so many, when do you pick up your crops and so on, they've seen tremendous impact. And this is already in Romania. So 5 years now, from this point forward, I would love to see more areas of the society, you know, reporting those kind of progresses back to us as citizens and seeing, you know, education, medical services, public administration, and I know Minister Ivan is talking a lot about that. It's a perfect example how you can help the citizens benefit, and there are applications being launched and technologies being deployed. You know, taxes, it's a very, very, I wanted to say sexy topic, but, you know, maybe not so much. And I think the country would benefit from improved intelligence around that. But the whole society at large, and I would like to close with that, I would like to see in 5 or 10 years those kind of initiatives that we are talking about right now, innovation at the European level, innovation at the global level, being deployed with practical examples in the society.
Thank you very much, Mr. 𝗜𝗏. Ladies, gentlemen, esteemed guests, this has been our panel on artificial intelligence. Thank you very much for being with us today. And please do stay around because we have an entire day at our ANIS International Summit. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. We kept our promise. It was interesting. It was a very insightful discussion. Now, for a successful event, the break should be on time, but we are a little bit later. It's not a problem. However, for the smooth organization, I will provide you for some information. We'll have now break up to 12 o'clock. We'll be here at 12 o'clock, and we'll see other debates. Thank you.